I'd like to welcome everybody in the audience, board members, people watching from home or wherever, to the first Revere Conservation Commission meeting of 2017. And the first item on our agenda is roll call. Member Loria?
Yep.
Member Melanson? Yeah. Member Joseph Lavalley? Yeah. Member James Saboni?
Here.
I'm Andrew DeSantis, Chairman of the Commission, and I'd just like to take a moment to say a few words about Member Ann Raponi, who had an accident and hurt her shoulders. Wishing her a speedy recovery, and hopefully we'll see her sooner rather than later. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of December 7th, 2016. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Vin Loria. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by James Cerrone. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Voted in the affirmative. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing notice of intent, DEP File 061068. I haven't gotten the exact file number yet. 205 Revere Beach Parkway, construction of a 5-story 132-key hotel and 6-story 195-unit residential apartment building with parking for 298 vehicles by 205 Revere Beach Parkway Partners, Limited Liability Corporation, Gate Residential. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll motion.
Second.
That was by James, and
Second.
second by Joe. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Voted in the affirmative. Rick, turn the mic on.
Yep.
Introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Good morning. Good evening, Rick. I'm Rick Latini with Howard Stein Hudson, civil engineer for the project. Here representing the applicant, 205 Revere Beach Parkway Partners, is Liz Bejo. I'm going to run through the project. You guys are probably all familiar with it, though. Then I'll run through the wetland resources on the site and some of the improvements we're making as part of this project. As you guys know, this is about a 6-acre site across from Suffolk Downs. We have Beachmont Station about an eighth of a mile to the south over here, and Revere Beach Parkway is off the plan here about a quarter mile. We were here. Well, as you know, this used to be Saratani's Market and last occupied by Shaw's in like 2011, I think. We were here last year and received approval for 301 residential units, but we received some feedback from the city and they wanted a mixed-use project, so now we're back here with a hotel and residential. So this is the hotel and this is the residential portion. Just to let you know, when we came to City Council, we had a 132-key hotel, and we had I think it was like 240 some odd units for residentials, and with some negotiations, we backed that down to 195 units. Also part of this site is, if you know, the floodplain, flood insurance rate maps changed last March. So this has caused us to raise the site. It used to be elevation 6, it's up to elevation 11. So on the plans you'll see we had to add a retaining wall here for bringing the buildings up above the floodplain while trying not to grade too much into the bank in Sales Creek. So as you know, Sales Creek runs in the back of the site. It's an area of critical environmental concern as it's part of the Romney Marshes. It drains this way up to Suffolk Downs and then out to the Belle Isle Marsh. Almost the entire site is land subject to coastal storm flowage. I think there's a little corner here that might be above the elevation 11. Obviously, there's an inland bank, which we defined as the observable break of slope, or the mean high water of 4.33. It's a tidal river. We also have bordering vegetated wetlands that have been, they're a little bit interior of the wall here, and they've been flagged in the field based on hydrologic soils and plant types. And because this is a densely developed area, we have a 25-foot riverfront area as opposed to the usual 200-foot. And lastly, there's a 100-foot buffer zone with the inland bank that is shown on your plans. There's no estimated habitat for wildlife here, as you know. It's actually a pretty low-quality wetland if you've been out there. There's trash and debris that's been taken over by some invasive and non-native species, particularly Phragmites, I think Japanese knotwood and Norway maples and such. So we don't think there's not a lot of habitat value there. We're actually in the process of doing a wildlife habitat evaluation anyhow, just as part of the process, because we are disturbing about 900 feet of bank. Most of it's to actually replant that, this whole area in the northeast section. We're actually removing fence and parking.
If I could,
and
Rick, I
planting.
saw that referenced in the notice of intent, the wildlife habitat evaluation. When do you expect to deliver that?
I think I'm getting it either next week or the week after. I know I'm getting a wetland mitigation plan next week, because we're gonna try to give you guys more information on the types of planting, and then the wetland evaluation habitat, I was told by our wetland scientists I'd get that by mid-January, so next week or early the week after.
Okay?
And can I comment on that also? Sure.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I'd really like to see a robust landscape plan for this area. And understandably, it's low-quality wetlands, but resources in Revere are few and far between, especially surface water bodies. So we'd love to see, at least from my perspective, I would love to see a robust landscape architect plan for this location.
Okay, yeah, the only thing we're proposing now, though, is it's about 10,200 square feet of temporary disturbance that will be planted with appropriate vegetation. We're not actually going, I guess what we're trying to do is we're trying not to rip plants out we don't need to towards the bordering vegetated wetland, but,
Yeah,
I also read, Rick, in the notice of intent that you're going to provide a detailed area riverfront mitigation plan. Wouldn't what James talking about be part of that?
yes, it would. I just want to let them know that I don't think we were planning on going all the way down to the water's edge, though, just because
Okay.
it's kind of I think with Mass DP, they've asked us to stay as far away from everything as we can, and on the other hand, we're like, anything we rip up, we'll put something better back in, so it's kind of a back and forth with DEP too, so.
And what do you think we'll have that plan?
The mitigation plan, that will be next week.
well, from DEP's perspective, as long as you're not creating impacts,
Yeah.
I don't think they would have an issue with plantings, native plantings, anything that would improve what's there now. That would be at least my desire, as far as, I'm not sure how the rest of the commission feels about the issue, but I think there's a great opportunity here for creating sort of a destination location for people who live in that neighborhood, where there are very few resource areas and very, very little open space in Revere to begin with.
All right. Yeah, I think one of the plans in there too, one of the 11 by 17s, if it has a colored area, so you'll know the strip that we're looking at right now. So if you had comments on that, you can get back to me, obviously, we can discuss with the client if we can extend that. There is an opportunity, as you know, we have a site walk on Friday, and I expect Heidi Davis or someone from Mass DEP to be there, so we can
Yeah,
reach
the
that topic
MIPA
too,
site
so-
walks Friday afternoon, 2:30. I plan on attending, so I don't expect to close the public hearing today. There's the MIPA site walk, there's also a Chapter 91 issue, and one of the things they said in the MIPA certificate, well, I don't know if it's a certificate, MIPA review, is they want us to include Chapter 91's comments in our order of conditions.
Okay, yeah.
So my plan is not to close the hearing tonight, but to continue it to at least February, and who knows what's going to be completed by then, what you'll have from other agencies.
Yeah, and I agree with that, because if something comes up in the site walk, I don't want to have to reopen the hearing too, so we were definitely just trying to get your thoughts tonight, and hopefully we can be in a good spot for the February to possibly close it
Yeah, we
too,
want
so.
the agencies, we want any residents' comments, make sure they're heard. I spoke to a representative from the Friends of Belle Isle Marsh today. They weren't able to make the meeting tonight. They haven't written comments yet. They will be writing comments.
I would expect something from them, yes. All right, any other on the wetland mitigation planning? Okay, if you guys want, I'll move into stormwater management now.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, as you know, most of the site drains just overland into the creek. There's a couple catch basins in the front, and the old building roof drains go to a couple outlets in the back in Sales Creek, and there's a little portion of the sidewalk that goes out to Revere Beach Parkway. Even though this is a redevelopment, we're trying to meet the DEP standards, all of them, because we're constrained with with area, we don't have like bioretention areas, but we are using water quality units that, first of all, are designed for 1 inch as opposed to the usual ½ inch because of the ACEC we're in. We're also using the water quality units, not the dynamic separators, but the media filters, so we'll be able to get, you get more silt particles captured, as well as it'll capture some phosphorus and nitrogen, which you might not get with the hydrodynamic separators.
So does Sail Creek, is that an impaired water body?
I forget, I doesn't, I can't remember if it's listed with an actual, it doesn't have a
There's no
TMDL, but
TMDL
yeah,
for
for what I know, I don't know if it's.
Total maximum daily load of a pollutant.
I would guess.
When they evaluate rivers, they look at different things typically, and
Yeah.
the rest of the state, phosphorus is a big deal, because, when you get out to,
I want to say
Dover
this,
and places
all of
like
Boston
that.
Harbor's impaired to some extent, but there's not a TMDL limit for a particular nutrient or anything like that.
But your proposed BMP is, can you describe that in a little more detail?
Well, for the pavement areas, it'd just be deep sump catch basins to this water quality unit. They're called jellyfish, they're from Contact. They basically have media filters in them that you can change out every few years when they exceed the life expectancy, but they take out in excess of 80% of the total suspended solids. I think the phosphorus removal that they've tested is 60%, and maybe the nitrogen's 50. I can't remember the exact numbers. It's actually on their website. I can get it to you.
Yeah, usually it's 80% is the requirement for phosphorus removal.
Yeah, well, this one actually doesn't have there's no requirement on this wetland, though, so we just grabbed it.
But you just said you're not sure if there's a
Oh,
TMDL.
I know there's not a TMDL for this. I just didn't know if it was definitely an impaired
From what I
body.
read, Jim, there was no TMDL for any of the water bodies around here that I'm aware of. So.
Okay.
And, and this filter is one of the ones accepted for ACECs and for land uses with potential higher pollutant loads because of our parking lots.
So the system it's approved by,
It's
it's approved by
one-
DEP?
It's one of those systems that have been, I think it might have
Is it
been,
a step approved?
yeah, I think it's either STEP or it was through the reciprocal thing, like when we got tested in New Jersey and New York and stuff, and then it's been accepted by, up
And-
here, we've used it in the past, so,
Yeah, and it's called a jellyfish?
yeah, sorry, bad name, but that's,
Okay.
It's
I've
from
just never
Contact.
heard of it, so can you describe, what it does, how the
Yeah,
filtration?
you don't have a SWIP yet. You're gonna present that too in the near future. When would you present that stormwater pollution plan?
yeah, for now, what I've given you, I've shown like the perimeter controls and where the stockpiles would be out of the 100-foot buffer. The stormwater pollution prevention plan will be in more detail. I'm not gonna have that probably for another month or so, but, we'll certainly copy you on that.
Yeah, we'd like to have it when we issue the order.
Okay.
That would be the goal.
All right. All right, well, and I think that the only other thing I want to add with the stormwater management was just the outlets. There's two existing outlets that they have no erosion protection, so we might replace those. We talked to DEP, they were okay with us replacing them as long as we stayed within the footprint of the existing ones. So in other words, if we want to add riprap, we have to start where the end of the pipe is and then cut back from there. They don't want us to go any further to the creek because it's an ACEC. You wouldn't be allowed to have a new outfall, so they're allowing us to upgrade the existing ones.
Who's your contact at DEP, if you don't mind me asking?
It was, it's actually a bunch of people. We've talked to Nancy Baker, Heidi Davis, Greg Moran, Rachel Freed, and I'm missing somebody on that list, but there's quite a few people we've been talking to.
Heidi Davis is the field person that's
Yeah, Heidi will
assigned.
likely be there Friday, yeah, so. And then her report in the Northeast Region's Rachel, so. And then Gary's the chief of staff over in the Winter Street office, so we've actually met in Boston and out in Wilmington. Even though the creek is in kind of bad shape, they're definitely keeping their eye on it because it's part of a very important
Yeah,
system.
like I said, keep in mind, we have very few natural resources here in Revere, so we're out to improve the ones we have.
Yeah, understood.
Not
yeah.
just keep the status quo, but
Nope, understood. Actually, part of our work too is we'll be clearing all the trash and debris in there, and on the surface and, you know, if anything that's caught up into the outfall over near North Shore Road, we're not actually gonna be dredging anything, but just picking up what what's on the surface. The other benefit to this project is we are creating about 60,000 square feet more of open space. This includes some amenities for the residential and the hotel, but we're also creating a linear park along Revere Beach Parkway. We're also decreasing the impervious by quite a bit, almost 30,000 square feet. And right here, we're getting rid of like, I'd say from where the fence line is to the parking lot, it's about 6,400 square feet, and about half of that is pavement. And obviously, the bigger benefit to this is having some active uses here, some people, safety, someone that's actually maintaining this thing in a very good condition. I'm not sure if you guys have anything else to add. I think that about sums it up. I don't want to take too much more of your time.
Questions?
Hi.
Member LaValle?
A couple of things. I've noticed that the parking seems to be spread out in various areas. And I'm talking about the gas traps that you'll have in the parking lot area. What will you have there? Just go over that, please.
Oh, sorry, there's basically, we basically have several, deep sump catch basins throughout. And any of the deep sump catch basins go through one of the water quality units we were talking about before it goes out to Sales Creek. Anything from the rooftop runoff will go to infiltration systems first. So that's how they'll get their treatment, and then that overflows into the creek in bigger storms.
And one other thing, I was wondering if you could just briefly tell us about the access and egress of vehicles. Where would it be? Could you just point to it?
It'll be right here. There's no access here today. We're actually, as you know, the city's got a MassWorks grant to help put a signal here to help out with this intersection, as well as allow easy access into the site. Right now, if you try to get to the site, you have to bang a UE at like 40 miles an hour and then get to this entrance over here. It's not easy to get to, so we'll be creating a working entrance there with signals. Not only that, we'll have like a safe pedestrian crossing. I don't know if you've ever seen anyone try to cross over there before, but it's obviously not easy.
You'll be able to exit the site and cross the parkway and head easterly on Winthrop Ave. Is that part of the plan?
I think there's. I have to check our signal plan. I don't know if you can actually go down. I don't know if we can actually go down this way. I have to double check that.
Okay,
I'm
just
sorry.
curious.
I know you can definitely take that movement. I'll have to check.
There's another opening at the other end of the property right now.
Across from Tomasello Drive.
Is that going,
yeah,
that's
that-
closed?
No,
That's going
that one remains, but it's only a right turn in and a right turn out.
Correct.
Because we couldn't put another signal there because there's one already here at North Shore Road, so there's no way we could coordinate another signal.
No, there's another signal just
Yeah.
a short ways down. So that would just be for leaving?
No, you can take a right turn in too.
Oh, you
You
can?
can only go right in and right out, so you can't cross over all those lanes.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Thank you.
I had submitted to you by correspondence several questions.
Correct.
Regarding protected interest of the Wetlands Protection Act, flood prevention, prevention of pollution, and minimization of flood damage. Did you look at those questions,
Yes.
and could you address them?
Well, I think the first question actually had to do with maybe the combined sewers, I guess, around here that are receiving water,
Prevention of
which
pollution.
actually
Well,
we
it's not
don't.
combined sewer, that's
Oh,
supposed to be,
it's just,
it does have a lot of surcharging
infiltration
by,
type of stuff?
clear water
Okay, yeah.
flows, yes.
Yeah, well, our site, we're tying into, I believe it's a 21-inch down here, and we're not, I think we're not even, we might be 1% of it, like in our peak hour flow, or 1.5%, and I sent those figures to Nick Rystrom, because he was gonna just confirm that we weren't gonna surcharge the system, but we're such a small part of it, and obviously none of our storm drainage will get over to the sewer. We have, our outfall is, our outfall is either here, and there's a little bit that go to Revere Beach Parkway, but both here and here go to a 60-inch culvert that crosses over and goes through Suffolk Downs and out to Belle Isle Marsh. As far as the flood protection, we're setting the building floors about 6 inches above the new floodplain elevation. We'll be doing the same with the transformers. So I don't know if you needed more than that on what we're doing as far as.
Well, I was more referring to Sales Creek, that branch of Sales Creek, what you'd be doing to try initially and in the future to try and make sure that keeps flowing.
Well,
You know, now it's an abandoned site, anybody can go to the guardrail and dump stuff over it.
well, I know, well, I'll let Liz talk to future maintenance, but I know for now, we're clearing that up, and like I said, if it's on the surface, we'll take it away from the head wall. We just can't do any dredging, though. And also part of this is we're adding mitigation here. We're actually kind of bringing the grades back a little bit to provide a little flood storage over here too. Like this, this area here will be a little bit lower than it is today.
And the third question was minimizing flood damage. You know, when you do have a storm and everything's flooded or going to be flooded, what systems are you going to put in place to be able for emergency responders to access, get people out, protect things from damage? Have you thought about that?
Well, I think for the, at least for the flood, I mean, this isn't taken into effect that if we have 5 feet of ocean rise, but I mean, for the flood, you can actually get to this front door. This will be a little bit higher up. I mean, it might have a foot or two in the 100-year storm, but it wouldn't be unnavigable. Most of the lower areas are back here, and and the main entries are up front, so.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Anybody from the audience would like to speak? President? Butter? Introduce yourself, Bob, please.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Bob O'Brien. I'm Director of Economic Development for the City of Revere, and I live at 10 Ocean Avenue, just around the corner from this site. As you know, this project was approved by special permit of the City Council with the full support of the mayor and his staff, myself included, and I'm here to reiterate that support before the Conservation Commission with due regard to your wisdom and jurisdiction in terms of the critical environmental issues before you. I would note just two things. Number one of the benefits, I think, of interest to you is the fact that by virtue of the Mass Work proposal, there will be the replacement of the very problematic water line down Winthrop Avenue, which I think is a very important and relevant consideration in your purview and also in our view about this project. The other thing is I would suggest that the first phase of this project will be moving forward with the proposed demolition of the existing building in February. The proponents have been very forthcoming with us, meeting with all of the city staff, the chief engineer, DPW supervisor, chief planner, myself, and others, and have circulated, we consider, a rather comprehensive and more than adequate plan for that, which was also shared with the community, specifically through city councilors Norashevsky and McKenna. Councilor Norashevsky made some comments with regard to the scope and schedule of the baiting, to which they were responsive in updating the plan, and in all respects, we think they have moved forward in a way that warrants this first phase moving forward with your approval.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? I would like to continue the public hearing as earlier stated, so could I have a motion to continue to February 1st?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Nick Melason, second.
I'll second.
Second by Jane Sabone. All those in favor? Aye. Voted in the affirmative. Thank you very much. See you back here in February. Okay. Second item on the agenda is public hearing, notice of intent, DEP File 061068. I haven't gotten the file number yet. 1089 Winthrop Ave, construction of a duplex home by Steve Viviano. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Nick Melason. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Vin Lauria. All those in favor? Any opposed? Voted in the affirmative. All right, Chuck and Steve, you're on. Turn the button on the microphone so we can hear you. Introduce yourself.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Yep, you can give those to me, Chuck. Okay. No, I don't need those. These are fine.
Looking the package we put together, I also made copies.
Yep, I saw the abutters list. Yep, okay,
Okay?
thank you. Steve,
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for your time. I am here before you this evening.
introduce yourself, please.
Steve Viviano.
Where you from?
I live in Nahan. I'm from Revere. I'm here before you this evening seeking permission to take down and construct a new structure at 1089, 1091 Winthrop Ave. The current structure has been abandoned for some years, is not in compliance with the flood maps and also the wetlands. I plan to demolish that, as I said. The new structure will be entirely built in accordance with the FEMA flood maps and with the wetlands. The structure will be elevated above the base flood elevation, which is 12 in that area, an AE zone. It will use all permeable surfaces on the ground level as far as the concrete and the pavers. I plan to greatly increase the amount of landscaping there, the grass, the shrubs around the area, and this will all be entirely and actually exceed the requirements for FEMA and the DEP. I will be there hands-on myself throughout the project. I understand the severity and the impact this has on the environment working so close to the coast. So I'll be there myself. I'll make sure that all of the work done is extremely sensitive and does not affect the surrounding area in any way. And any other questions, I think Chuck could answer specifics on the plan itself.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Viviano.
Thank you, guys.
Chuck, anything to add?
Yeah, good evening. My name is Charles Fair from Parsons Fair Inc. We're located at 60 Lewis Street in Lynn, Massachusetts. Excuse me, I'm dealing with a little cold. We were the preparers of the plan. As you can see, on the left side of the plan is the existing condition plan, which shows the existing home. It shows all the resource areas. This being the top of the coastal bank, the seawall out. The wall that separates, excuse me, this is the seawall out. There's the floodgate there that opens, the metal floodgate. The other wall that separates Winthrop Parkway from Winthrop Ave. That's the 100-foot buffer to the coastal bank. This line here is actually two FEMA flood elevations. One of elevation 12 and one of elevation 13, either side of that line. And then the fourth resource area we have is a salt marsh area, which is at that point there, and giving us another 100-foot buffer there. So we're totally within the flood zone, the land subject to coastal storage. And pretty much in every 100-foot buffer there is, coastal salt marsh and stuff. Then we're proposing, this is the existing building here, and that's the proposed dwelling there. And like Steve had said, we're proposing the first floor elevation to be at 1775, which is like 4.5 feet above the flood zone. This allows us to get parking under at the garage elevation of 9.75, which is pretty much the level of the ground that's there, at around 9. As part of the city requirements, they're going to make us, from here down, there isn't any granite curbing, no concrete sidewalks. So part of that, we got to add that, which kind of pushed everything up another 7 or 8 inches from what was there. And so that's what we're proposing. two garages, two previous paving driveways, some steps going up to the first floor, decks above, and porches and steps going up to the back with very little regrading of any of the lot, other than maybe some lumen and seating.
Chuck, I thought we talked about the floor of 975.
What's that, Amy?
I thought we talked about the floor of 975 when we met, that you couldn't have that.
Why can't I?
Well, your grade's 8 to 9 outside. You can't increase that.
We're not, I got 9, I got 9.5, 9.8 here. Okay, you see in the existing condition?
I see a grade line of 9
Yeah,
on the left side,
yeah,
going just beyond the facade of the building.
yeah.
And on the other side, at the back, I see a grade of 8.
I got a 9 in the back, but not in the front. We're not changing
Yeah,
the
but
grade in
you
the
can't have
back.
it in the back, is what I'm telling, which.
We don't
what I
have
told
9
you.
in the back, we have 8 in the back.
Yes, but you have a floor grade of 975. You can't have that. I told you that.
Yeah, you said something like that, but I wasn't well, I shouldn't say I don't understand. We don't have to do any compensatory storage, correct?
No, but you cannot increase the bottom grade inside the foundation wall any higher than the outside grade of the land.
I never heard of that one, Andy.
If you look at Technical Bulletin 1, it tells you that, the FEMA publication for flow-through openings.
I thought I had my elevation within a foot of
The
what,
elevation of the flow-through openings can be within a foot of the outside grade,
right.
but inside the foundation wall, you cannot fill it all.
Even though I have no idea what his cellar elevation is presently.
It's 975.
His? No, I don't know what his is.
What existing is?
Yes.
But this is proposed. I don't care what existing is. You can't have it on a proposed building. It's got to be level with the outside grade.
So it means I'm gonna have to pitch the driveways back so the water will flow into the garages.
Yeah, that's what ended up happening, yeah.
Can be done.
I told you that, Chuck. You know, that's.
Yeah, you did mention that, I'm not arguing that. Part of the problem is that we lose 10 inches because of the city requiring us to put the curbing and sidewalks in. I could have got this down to below 9. Which
We
would
talked
drive
about that too.
it- Yeah. Mhm. Well, I can make the adjustment pretty easily, I believe. I have 9 in the front, but you're saying I can't have 9 in the back.
Correct. Well, you get 975 as the floor of the garage. You can't have 975 whether it's the front or whether it's the back.
But if I have 9 in the front.
It says 975 floor.
I have 9.8 over here right now. Originally, there was, I'm sure you guys all know this site pretty well, there was a deck across the whole front that had.
Yes, I know. That
Okay,
was
I
on
wish
the
it was-
railroad
I-
ties.
I wish it
all
was
filled
still
in.
there.
I saw it constructed, Chuck.
Yeah.
Lived up the street.
Yeah.
But I'm saying what it is now.
Yep. So you're
So
saying
you
like
could
that?
have 9.5 and I don't see the 9.8 grade, I see a 9.5 grade.
Wait, the second one, see the second one to the left across the front? Is that saying? Yes. It says 9.8, see it on the
Where is it?
existing?
On the existing.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the new. I don't care about the existing. You look at the new.
Well, you're saying they have to match what's out there.
Yes.
So I had a 9.8.
But I don't know what you were on there at 9.8. Well, if I look at the existing on the left side, I see 8.7.
On the left side, yes, and it goes to 9.2, and then goes
And then it goes to 9.2, then it goes out to 9.8 on the right side.
Right.
Well, on the proposed plan, you're 9.5 on the right side, which is fine. But on the left side, then you'd have to meet 8.7?
Or do I have to meet
But it
8,
looks
9?
like-
Or do I have to meet 8, 9,
But it looks
2?
like your grade is a little bit higher there, the way you've got it graded. I'd go along with that, but not 9.8.
So if I adjust it to a elevation 9, then we'd be in compliance?
Yes. At the front and the back, you gotta be down at 8.
How do you, well, you know, I could do, what we could do.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Could I step the garage in the back?
If you get enough room, I don't see why not.
I'm feeling.
Well,
if
but
I'm-
you can't be above the grade outside, Chuck. No matter how you cut it, you gotta follow the grade that's outside. So it'd have to be sloped.
Slope backwards to the garage?
You're gonna have flow-through openings anyways.
Yeah, I am. So you're saying I'm gonna have to come up with 8 in the back?
Come up 8, you're at 9.75.
Yeah, but I'm saying I have to get down to go
Yeah.
down to 8. Well, it's gonna make it all real awkward. Could do it.
In the back now, there's loam, right, which was dumped in dirt, and that's what brought that grade up?
No, that's just, no, it's different. I don't know, well, if I come up with the, because the building's larger than the existing building, so wherever we touch, we're gonna be down where he says. All right. Well, we're gonna have to go back to that.
What if we took the lowest point that we had to be at and raised the entire floor level with that?
We have to be the other way around, Steve. That's what I did. I took the,
I mean, the highest point, I'm sorry, John. If we took the highest point we were at and made it,
If you made it a structural floor and lifted it up, you'd be fine, but, and let water flow underneath it.
well, oh, I see what you're saying, make it a crawl space.
Yeah, that's what you would have to do.
We're gonna have to talk about that one, I guess.
could the floor be above the grade in the
Yeah,
front
that's
of
what
the
he-
structure, Andy?
That's what he just
Can the
said.
floor at the front of the structure be above the
Yeah,
grade?
yes.
No, it's gotta be equal to.
Equal to, so if that grade slopes, the floor has to slope,
The
there's no making the
floor
floor
really
level?
should slope, yes.
So that would be hard to do. I don't think we'd be able to, we have to make that a structural floor, Andy, and with the flowable, with the porous concrete, we're not gonna probably be able to accomplish that.
Well, you wouldn't do it with porous concrete.
Yeah. I try to get everything so we,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, I wouldn't put a structural slab with porous concrete.
No,
You
you
don't have
wouldn't,
the
no.
strength in
It's
it.
just not strong enough, yeah. All right. Well, I guess we have to ask for continuance to next month and resubmit is it possible to get a continuance to
Oh,
next
sure,
month?
yeah.
And let us
Yeah,
go
just
back
like
to
we
the
did with
drawing
the other
board?
one, yeah.
Once they're requesting continuance, we have to talk about some other issues.
Yeah, sure.
Sure, yeah, let's get it all on the table so we can
Yeah,
address
so
it,
you don't
that's
have
fine.
to come back
Yeah.
twice, yeah.
I'm sorry, did you want to ask something? I was going to refer, can I ask a question, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
I'm referring now to the photograph of the rear of the house.
Yes.
Is that the Pearl Ave side or the Winthrop Avenue?
That's parallel to Winthrop Ave. That's it, you're standing back here, looking towards Winthrop Ave.
Okay. I don't see an elevation on that edge of the property. As a matter of fact, I don't see one at the edge of the property going up Pearl Ave either. Can you give me an elevation at the end? First, I'm jumping ahead. Is that photograph being taken at the edge of the property towards the house?
It's probably pretty close, yeah.
Now-
You see those trees in the picture?
Yes.
Those trees are here, here, and you don't see those trees. But you see this group of trees and this group of trees here. You see them in the plan?
Yes.
And then there are, you see the spot elevations, if you look, you can see, elevation 8, 7.9, 7.7, 7.4 in the cluster of trees, 7.4 in that cluster of trees, 6.8 in the left rear corner.
That's existing that you're telling me now?
That's existing,
And those are going to stay?
Yes.
That's not changing? Are there houses on Pearl and Winthrop next to this
there's-
house, or is it open?
There's a vacant lot here.
Yes?
And then there's one more house, which is probably 50, 60 feet away from us, at least. And then there's a house on Pearl that's like about 15 feet off the rear property line.
Okay. But, so the elevations are staying as they are now?
We propose to keep everything the same, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion to continue? Or we have other?
No, obviously, this is a really challenging location, especially when it comes to,
Yes, it is.
especially when it comes to flood concerns. I mean, you probably can't find a worse location in Revere when it comes to having to deal with floodplain and all the regulations that go along with it. So I just wanted to remind you, reference salt marsh in the rear of the property. So any type of sediment control during construction is going to be critical for that area because, okay. And they should be maintained during construction because any impacts to salt marsh requires a variance under the, for the DEP. So just want to make sure you're aware of that.
Okay, yep, thanks.
Do you understand entirely?
Yeah, I do.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Next item on the agenda is a public hearing notice of intent, DEP file number 061, 068. I've got the number for it, but those will be the first five. Railroad street installation of ground grid along northern fence line and substation number 7, Massachusetts Electric Company. We have a motion to open public hearing.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Mason,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Moria. All those in favor? Any opposed? Voted in the affirmative.
Excuse me. Good evening. My name is Amanda Lansing. I'm with VHB. We are environmental consultants for Mass Electric. And what they'd like to do over at the substation on Railroad Street is install a grounding wire along the northern fence line. It's been discovered there is one not currently there for some of the really tall steel structures that they have in there, so it's a safety issue. They need to make sure that all of the equipment inside the station is grounded and safe for people to work around. So what they're proposing to do is, I think only about 15 feet of it or so is within the buffer zone to a wetland that's also located north of the substation. And so it's probably at closest 80 feet from that wetland. They're going to be digging a very small trench. They need to probably remove some vegetation along the fence line, maybe about 3 feet out. And then they'll either hand dig or use a very small backhoe. They'll dig down about 18 inches, they'll run a cable along the bottom of the trench, and then they'll bring that cable into the substation and connect it with the equipment that's currently in there. It's a pretty simple process, should only take a day or two to do. There is a swing gate located there, that's how they're gonna access it, it's really the only way to get back there. And then they'll put the fill back into the trench. They'll probably just use whatever they take out. They'll set it right next to the trench. They'll backfill everything, anything excess they'll take out. They'll make sure that the area is stabilized, and then they will continue to maintain the small area that they've removed vegetation from in case they need to get in there to the future to do any maintenance work or anything like that. So it's a pretty simple process. You don't really foresee it affecting that wetland area at all. They can set up some wattle or some silt fencing, within that area that is within the buffer zone, just to keep, make sure that nothing spreads down to that, but it's a pretty simple process.
Any questions? I prepared an order of, anybody in the audience like to speak on this? Did you want to speak on the other one?
No.
Oh, okay, because I didn't ask.
I was just listening.
Okay. So I prepared an order of conditions. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing and issue?
I'll
make a
motion to
motion.
close the hearing and issue it in
I'll
order of
second it.
conditions.
All those in favor?
And I have all the receipts for the notices that were sent out. Do you want those?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, motion to close and issue an order of conditions by James Sorboni, second by Nick Malayson. All those in favor? Any opposed? Voted. I'll start with James, since he's all by himself over here. No, don't use razors. Although if you copy one of them, then I think you signed it. Yeah, the normal one seemed to copy it. Bless you again.
Thank you. Sorry, I've had this cold all week.
Yeah, so we'll sign it tonight. It's 10-day waiting period.
Yep,
I've got to copy it and I'll send it to you.
awesome. Sounds
And
great.
file it with DEP.
All right.
Okay,
Thank
Amanda?
you, guys. Have a good
You're
night.
welcome. Bye. Next item on the agenda is a vote certificate of compliance, 650 Ocean Ave, Walter Upton. They finally completed everything down there. Joe and I had done a site visit, back in December, Joe? Yeah. And I met him down there and went over everything with him. Everything looked like it was good shape. So if we could have a vote, a motion to issue.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
This is DEP file number 0610648-650. And who motioned that? Nick. And Joe Lavelle second. Next one is fifth, which wasn't on the agenda, was 50 Broadsound Ave when we approved the project. Now it's been readdressed as 21 Falmouth Ave. I've gotten as-bills for everybody. You didn't give me the certificate of compliance, did you? We got a certificate of compliance form. No, a small plan is fine. I get electronically, that's the best way to have it. All right, that one's signed by everybody. So, this is 21 Foam Ave. Do I have a motion to issue COC?
I'll make a motion.
That was Nick?
No, Vinnie.
No, Ben. Got me that time.
I'll
Do we have a
second.
Second by James Saboni. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And that's voted. All right, so, I'll start this one with you guys. James already signed that. And I'll get this one with James. Blue pen? So we'll sign it tonight, then I gotta make copies, and I'll send it to you so you can record everything. If you can't get, the original order of conditions, yeah, see if you can get it. If you can't, it's not a real big deal, but, you know, just helpful in the future, when the property transfers again. They might be looking for it to make sure, you know, if you get a sharp attorney. Okay, next thing is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Nick Malason, second by Vin Loria to adjourn at 7:52 PM. All those in favor? Aye. So voted. Thank you.